Hello beautiful people, my name's Dinah. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Alright, so for today's video, we're going to be talking about my most anticipated reads for the rest of this year. First, I'm going to be talking about some books that still have to be released, that are not released yet. Then I'm going to be talking about some books that I've had on my shelf for a while or that have recently been added to my shelf that I really want to read. And then I'm going to be talking about some rereads that I really want to do this year. Let me know if any of these books you guys have read and if you think I should move them up on my TBR, because I was trying to just pick like my most anticipated and it's still quite a few books, so please let me know which ones I should read first because there's still quite a few of them. So let's first talk about books that still have to be released that I am very excited to read. Okay, so first we have Nothing Like the Movies, which is the second book to Better Than the Movies, and Better Than the Movies is literally one of my favorite YA romances ever. It is the cutest book ever, so I am so excited for this next book. I want to go into it completely blind because I love them so much. I love him. I love him so much, and Liz is literally me. Like, she's so spazzy and I related to her character so much. And then we have Daydream, which is the third book in like the Icebreaker Wildfire, that series by Hannah Grace. This cover is adorable. I pre-ordered it from Amazon and I'm planning to read Wildfire literally this week. So I'm going to be all ready for this third book to come out. I'm so excited. It's so cute. I love the color of the cover and I cannot wait for this one. This one is definitely one of my most anticipated reads of the year. And then we kind of have a two-in-one because I'm really excited to read Love Redesigned, and then Love Unwritten also comes out this year and I'm very excited to read that one as well. Obviously I have to read this one first. This one is on my TBR card. I want to read it soon. I loved the Dreamland Billionaire series, so I'm very excited to jump into this series, and I love the covers. I think they're so pretty next to each other, and this one is definitely one I want to read sooner rather than later. Alright, and then we have One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I read my first Ruth Ware book, I want to say around fall time last year, and it was The It Girl, and I loved that book. It's easily one of my favorite thrillers, so I am very excited for this one. And it sounds like it's about like some people who are maybe like on a deserted island and people start getting killed, so it kind of reminds me of like Reckless Girls maybe, but I'm very excited for this one because I love her writing for thrillers. Alright, and then my most anticipated read for this year is Reckless by Lauren Roberts, but I am also super excited to read Powerful by her because I love Adina, and I know this story is just gonna break my heart, and I'm also planning to reread Powerless. So I want to reread Powerless, jump into this one, and then jump immediately into Reckless when it comes out, just so everything is like fresh in my brain, but I cannot wait. It's definitely my most anticipated release this year. Okay, so those were all of the books that are not released yet that I'm excited to come out. I feel like a lot of the books that I have been really excited for already came out, so that's why there's not too many of those. But let's talk about some romance series that I'm really hoping to read. The first one being Flawless by Elsie Silver. I've still not read the Chestnut Spring series. I know, and I know everyone loves it, and I know I'm going to love it. I need to get around to doing it. I want to read all of them this summer and annotate them, and I just feel like they're summer reads, so I'm very excited to read these this summer. The next series I feel like is a series that I'm the only one that has not read it yet, and that is the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I am planning to read it this year eventually. I will get to them. I love the covers, they're so pretty, but also I feel like everyone has read them except me, literally. So I'm very late to the party on these, but I will be reading them eventually. Then we have the Addicted to You series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is probably one of my most anticipated reads in general because I'm just so excited to jump into this world. I know that the characters are so loved and the series is huge, but I love a big series where you can really find that found family. So that's why I'm very excited for this one. Then we have the rest of the Magnolia Park series. I have this one, the second Daisy Hates book, and Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I'm literally planning to start this one this weekend, and I cannot wait because I recently read Daisy Hates and I'm like obsessed. I just need to keep going. So I will be finishing this series sooner rather than later because I'm just gonna go through all the rest of the books. Then we have another series that is very, very anticipated for me, and that is Beartown by Frederick Backman. I've heard so many amazing things about this series. I know it's very emotional, it covers some hard topics, but I've heard that they are amazing, and I feel like I'm gonna love them. I loved Anxious People by him, and I just think he is such an amazing writer, and I cannot wait to dive into this series. Alright, then I have the Consider Me series by Becca Mack. I always forget what this series is called, but I cannot wait to start it. A lot of my good book friends told me I'm gonna love this series, so I'm very excited. I need to get around to it. And the fourth book in the series is also releasing this year, and the cover is gorgeous. I'll put a picture here. So I do want to get to them, maybe in time for the fourth one to come out. I'm not sure though, but I'm very excited for this. Okay, now I'm just going to talk about some more standalone romance that do not have like a huge series. It's just like either 1 or 2 books. So the first one being The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I cannot wait. I read The Dead Romantics around fall time last year, I think, and I loved it, and I cannot wait to read this one. I think I'm gonna love it just as much. Her writing is so cool, and it's always like very interesting concepts she has in her books. Then we have Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I cannot wait to read this. It's probably not gonna be until wintertime this year, just because, I don't know, I feel like hockey romances are just like more winter vibes. I don't know. A couple booktubers that I watch were talking super highly about it. They said that they were like giggling the whole time, and I love books like that, so I'm very excited for this one. Then we have a newer release, being The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. I absolutely loved the cheat sheet, so I cannot wait to read this one, and the cover is just the cutest thing ever, so I'm very, very excited. I probably will end up listening to the cheat sheet before, just because it's been like 2 years. So I want to refresh my brain before I go into that one. Then I have Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I am very excited to read this one. I'm curious to see what I'll think about it. I feel like this is going to be one where either I love it or I hate it. So we will see about that one. Then I have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I've heard amazing things about this. I've never read a Catherine Center book, so I'm very excited to jump into this one soon. It's high on my TBR, and I love the cover and everything. Then we have Happy Place as well as Funny Story. I don't have Funny Story yet physically, so these are 2 Emily Henry books that I cannot wait to read. This one has been high on my TBR forever, so I cannot wait to finally jump into it this summer. I'm planning to annotate it, and I really hope I like it. I've only read Book Lovers by her, and it was just okay to me, so I'm really hoping I love this book and Funny Story. I think I'm gonna love this one. I know what it's about, and I really think I'm gonna love it, so I'm hoping I love it. Now let's talk some fantasy releases that I am very excited for. The first one is Emily Watt's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I love this cover. It has like the shiny foil on it. I'm waiting to read this one closer to when the second one comes out, just because I want to read them back to back. I heard this is like a cozy fantasy, so definitely giving like fall read. Next I have The Bear and the Nightingale. This is a trilogy, so there's 3 books. And I've been intrigued by this one since I started reading like 2 years ago. I cannot wait to start this series. I don't really know much about it. I want to go in blind, but I've heard really good things about it, and I don't see it too many places, so I feel like it might be like a hidden gem. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see what I'm gonna think about that. Next we have like a dark academia book, and that's If We Were Villains. I've wanted to read this book so long, so this is the year. I'm definitely gonna be doing like a dark academia reading vlog during the fall. I feel like that's the perfect time to read these books. So we'll see. I'm very interested to see what I'm gonna think about this one, but I love the cover, and the title is just like, I don't know. There's something about it that I'm very excited about. Then we have Heavenly Bodies, which I'm pretty sure this is just a 2-part series, but someone that I know that loves Throne of Glass, just like me, was saying how much she loved this series, so that is why I bought them, and I'm going to be starting them soon. They're huge books, and the writing is pretty small on the pages. So I'm curious to see what I'm going to think about these, and hopefully they live up to all the hype I've built around them in my head. We have One Dark Window. I know you guys have been wanting me to pick this one so bad for my TBR cart. Don't worry, I will pick it eventually. I really want to read it this year. And I already have the second book, so I can jump right into the second one after this one. but I'm really curious, and pretty foil on the cover again. So we'll see. We'll see what I think about this one when I get to it eventually. Then I have Assistant to the Villain, which I'm intrigued about because I've heard either people like love or hate this book, literally. I haven't seen like any reviews in between. Either people like absolutely love it or they say it's horrible. So we'll see what I think about it when I get to it, but I love the sprayed edges. Alright, next we have probably my most anticipated series, and that is Zodiac Academy. I cannot wait to start these books. They're huge, and I think there's like 10 books, and the last couple are literally, they gotta be like 1,000 pages because they look massive. But I cannot wait to start this. I've heard that the found family is great. I've heard that the writing is a little bit like cringy at times, but I don't care. I want like another found family, and people say like it's emotional, there's romance in it, and I hope it makes me feel at least maybe a little bit of what Throne of Glass did. Like, if I'm crying over the characters and I'm attached to them, that's all I want. So I'm really, really curious about this series. Next we have A Fate Inked in Blood, which the edges are literally gorgeous. I just found this one at my Barnes & Noble, like, I don't know, a few days ago, and when I saw it with the edges, I had to get the hardcover. I know this one recently came out, and a lot of people have been talking very highly about it. I think it's more like Viking vibes, maybe? Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard, and I'm very, very excited. I love new fantasy series, and just the edges are everything. They're like sparkly, and I'm obsessed. So, we'll see. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for this one. And then we have Ruthless Vows, which is the second book in the Divine Rivals series, and I don't know how I have not read this yet, but I will. I will read it. I almost need like a little bit of a refresher from Divine Rivals. I've heard this one wasn't as good as the first one, so it makes me a little bit nervous to read it, but I will be reading it sometime this year. And just a moment for this cover and the inside of it, and also the dust jacket makes like a picture. So pretty. Literally, I'm obsessed with this edition. It's probably, I own the special edition for Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, and they're signed, and they're perfect. I'm so obsessed with them. Alright, the last fantasy series that I really want to read is Once Upon a Broken Heart. I do want to read Caraval, I think that's how you say it. I want to read that one first before I jump into this one, but I cannot wait. I love the covers so much, and I know people are like obsessed with this series, so this one is high on my TBR, but I just have to get through Caraval first, so. Okay, now we're just going to be talking about the few books I want to reread this year. I don't know if I'll end up getting to these rereads, but there's only 4. 2 of them are series. I really want to reread ACOTAR and Throne of Glass and fully annotate this series. I want to reread Throne of Glass. I've been talking about that to you guys forever. This is my favorite series ever. I finished it at the beginning of this year, and it just holds such a special place in my heart. I absolutely adore this series, and this is one series where I will tell, even if you don't like fantasy, just read this series because they're amazing. The found family, the emotion, her writing in these books are so good. So I want to reread them all, fully annotate the entire series. But honestly, I'd love to reread ACOTAR before Throne of Glass because it's been like over a year since I've read the ACOTAR series. So I would love to kind of refresh my brain on that and then jump into Throne of Glass after, because I miss her books. I've finished all her books now, and I miss them. So I cannot wait for these two for a reread. And then I want to reread The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This was literally the book that got me into reading. I read it when I was in high school, and I fell in love with it. I still remember it to this day. So I really want to reread it. I feel like it will be like super nostalgic because it's been like 8 years since I've read it or more. And I'm very excited for my reread. It's such a heartbreaking book, but I'm very excited. I want to fully annotate the book, and there's so many good quotes. It's told from the point of view of death during World War II, and it's such a special book to me. So this is, again, a book I totally recommend. And then we have The 10,000 Doors of January. Yeah, I literally just read this book last month, and I already want to reread it and annotate it. The quotes in here were so beautiful, and just the overall story, so amazing. I really think this is one of the best love stories ever, and it's such a beautiful story. Please read this one. This is another book. Totally recommend. Obsessed with this one. Okay, you guys, that is it. That is my highly anticipated books to read in the rest of the year. Am I gonna read all these in 7 months? Probably not, but wishful thinking. I'm wishful thinking. Okay, but yeah, let me know if you guys have read any of these books I talked about, how you felt about them, which ones I should read sooner rather than later, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video today. As always, I will be back next Friday with another video, and I'm hoping it might be a 24-hour challenge. We will see, but I definitely want to do one of those soon. So keep your eye out for that, and thank you always for all your support you've given me. It means the world to me, and yeah, hope you guys all have a great weekend. Bye!